In the midst of continuing students' protests over the alleged NEET undergraduate 2026 paper leak, the issue has been set to echo in the Parliament. Congress MP K.C. Venugopal has submitted an adjournment motion notice in the Lok Sabha seeking a discussion on what he has described as a severe and ongoing crisis in India's national examination system. The opposition is expected to press the government on exam security, transparency and accountability as the row over paper leaks continues to intensify. Let me get in a perspective from Mr. Shekhar Vijayan, who's been with us, rather patient with us so far. Your perspective, sir, because yes, conversations about what's happened as far as the NEET paper leak is concerned, that's important. But like Mr. Mithun Vijay said, many people are now perceiving the protests as narebazi that is not sticking to the agenda. They wanted to have a peaceful protest. We've seen what's happened on the streets. But to not have this conversation would also not be productive. How do you see this going forward?
See, I think it's going to be very chaotic. It's almost going to be like a fish market. And the reason I say this is day two is a credibility test for both the sides. See, the parliament is the temple of democracy. And it's not just been writing. It's not that about all of us talking about it. But I think the opposition as well as the central government really need to take a firm stand here. We have noticed in the past, whenever this has happened, both the sides, they adopt, they are at loggerheads with each other and nothing really moves forward. I think somewhere the speaker has to come in and establish a code of conduct and make sure that things happen as per plan. You have to understand that this is all our taxpayers' money which is going in there, and we have our elected representatives who are supposed to be speaking in the parliament for us.
Correct.
And there has to be a visible outcome. See, for example, if you have a debate or a discussion like this in a corporate atmosphere, you have an outcome out of it. These are our elected representatives, but there's nothing coming out of it. Whenever we talk about it, there's always some kind of log jam. There are issues which needs to be discussed, and it ends up being open and outstanding. Now, about what's happening outside in terms of the fast and then the CJP party coming in, this was bound to happen because the government did not take action for the last 3 weeks. They did something around it where JB Nadda ji met the two representatives from the CJP party. But I think what the opposition demands, and I think what everybody knows, is there are some open issues in the government, and the government can take responsibility and show some amount of self-awareness and take action. They need to be in a position where they can collaborate. What we always notice is they want to govern, but our opposition also needs to play a very active role. They need to not just show that they are they're responsible, but there has to be a responsible discussion. People are watching, everybody's watching them, and what ultimately ends up is just a visual spectacle. There's nothing which comes out of it. There are so many interesting bills which are going to be passed, which is very, very important for India. But are we getting an outcome out of it? I'm not seeing that happening in the last few years. What we really need to see is how are they going to take their positions, seriously going forward. They need to be told very clearly what their role is. Sometimes they need to be, emphasized once again. It's nice that the Prime Minister is talking about it. Usually in every session he comes in and he explains what he's expecting in the session, which is very visionary, which is very missionary. But it's also important for the parties to also implement it. I think somewhere the information does not trickle down, or people don't take that information seriously, and that's why all this, this entire, this spectacle is happening between the opposition parties and the central government. And it also goes to show there is no convergence at all. We have seen oppositions in the past, we have seen governments in the past, which have also worked together. This is the first time we're seeing that in the last 12 years, this has always been happening, where the government tries to play the sympathy card saying, they're not allowing us to function. Opposition says the government does not give us a chance to speak. Now, we don't know who's telling the truth or who's lying, right? At the end of the day, what we are watching on TV, what we are talking about is going to be more important. What everybody's looking at for a normal citizen like you, me, and the rest of us here is what is the outcome? What is going to come out of this? That's important. It's not a discussion. It's not a deliberation. It's not a debate. It's not a tutu meme. What's going to happen out of it? That's what everybody's very confused about, because the parliament is the place where the discussion should happen technically. And I think it's great that the parliament is the temple of the democracy. But I think that trust has been broken, and the trust needs to be restored, and the parties need to be made very clear about what their role is. They are our elected representatives, and they need to act like elected representatives, which is fight for the common man or the common woman and talk about things which are important and make sure there's a visible outcome to it.
You're absolutely right about that, sir. Let's put out some more breaking updates, please.